In this video, I'd like to introduce you to Monkey Tools SmartFile Monkey. Now, as you can see in this workbook, I have a little parameter table that I've injected using Monkey Tools, which has a folder path and a file path to a specific CSV file for January 2008. If I wanted to change that, I can do it. And the beauty of this is that using the file contents query and leveraging the fn_get_parameter function, I have made this nice and dynamic. We can see right here that the fn_get_parameter is extracting the file path from the Excel worksheet, feeding it in here so that we can dynamically choose which file we want. And that's great, but this is coming from my C drive. And if I zip up the solution and send it to a client or someone else in my company, I need to be concerned with where they store it. If it's stored in a local file that's not syncing anywhere, that's great. But if it happens to go into a folder that's syncing to SharePoint, when you open the workbook, that function will replace the file path with the SharePoint path, at which point this will break. So in another video, I've already introduced the fn_SmartFile function. You can find that on the query menu right here, SmartFile function. The challenge with this though, is that while it injects the function and solves the problem, you have to hook up all the pieces manually. And this is where the SmartFile Monkey comes into play for our pro users. I can go and click on SmartFile Monkey. It comes back and says, what would you like to call it? SmartFile? That's a good enough name for me. Which variable holds the file path? This is going to be file path. If that parameters table is not already in the workbook, it'll inject it for you automatically. Although we do recommend you build your parameter table first so that you can change the file name before you run the SmartFile Monkey. Having said that, it's all good here. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to inject the fn_SmartFile function as well as a connection-only version of SmartFile. So let's double click on that and go and take a look and see what we have. It has actually created a file path with fn_get_parameter, and then our source step, which is connecting to the CSV. So I can now double click on this, open it up. I'm going to go back to the promoter's header step here, and I'm going to change the type of the trend date column using locale here. Reason being is that this is in a month, day, year format. That's not the default settings that I use here. So we're going to go and fix that. So here we go. We'll make this one a date, and we're going to go with English United States and say OK. Everything looks good here. And just like that, the file contents and the smart file are all set up to be completely consistent. So I'm going to choose to close and load this right now. There we go. And then I'm going to change the load destination of this query. So as soon as it finishes doing its refresh, we'll go load to. I'm going to put this on a table and I'm going to drop it right beside here. So nice and easy to build this with a SmartFile Monkey. Now the big key here though is, will it refresh if we suddenly switch this out so that the workbook is stored in a SharePoint sync folder? So I'm going to save it there. Bear with me one sec. And here we are. Notice that we have a SharePoint file path here when I open the file because it's stored in a sync folder. And the other thing is that the file path contains a mixture of backslashes and forward slashes, but this is not a big deal because our SmartFile function actually makes all those slashes consistent. So as you set things up, it's automatically going to work in future. And let's go and prove that out. We'll go and take a look at our file contents. We'll try and do a refresh on this. Right click and refresh. And right away, we get a nice big error here about the supplied file path having to be a valid absolute path. This is what happens when you try and pass a SharePoint URL to the local files connector. So that won't work. That's for file.content. Now, if I go and close this, let's try SmartFile. Right click, refresh, and boom, look at that. We get a nice little notification asking us to declare our privacy levels because it's on SharePoint. I'm going to set that to organizational, which is consistent with my SharePoint site. And now when I say save, we can see that the data does indeed go and actually refresh. And that is a beautiful thing. So there we go. That's how easy it is to set up the SmartFile using a SmartFile Monkey and have a completely dynamic file path. So no matter where anybody saves your data solution, as long as you've got the formula generating the proper file path on a relative basis, it will automatically work. The only thing you may have to deal with is just declaring your privacy levels and your credentials for your SharePoint site the first time you log in. So nice and easy. There you go, that's Monkey Tools. Thanks for watching this episode of Using Monkey Tools. To get your own monkey, visit our website at monkeytools.ca. Or if you subscribe to Skillwave's Self-Service Business Intelligence Academy, you'll get a free annual pro license included with your subscription. And remember, Monkey Tools was developed to support better Excel and Power BI solutions. If you want to learn how to really master these tools, you should definitely check out our full course catalog at skillwave.training.